Super funds and political donations. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee and let's have a look at this article from the Sydney Morning Herald sent to me by a viewer discussing, it's a little bit of an old one but I didn't see it, discussing super funds and, well, the request or demand or insistence for transparency on their political donations. Now just think about that. Why are super funds making political donations? Why isn't it transparent already today? And should they even be allowed to have any political influence? And this is from both sides of, well, the politicals, both sides. Who are we kidding? It's from Labour Green or Labour Light Green. Which party do you want to pick, everyone? Senator Andrew Bragg wants to force industry superannuation funds, so he's just aiming at the union-controlled ones, to disclose how much money they give to trade unions, claiming more than $30 million a year will be paid from retirement profits into union coffers by 2030. I mean, there you go. By just participating in these funds with the little hand symbols they have on the TV, you're supporting the union movement. Are you ideologically supportive of their movement? Are there perhaps any issues you might have with their movement? Do you feel they've let down some of their, well, founding principles? Oh, they haven't let down their funding. The Liberal senator slammed the relationship between unions and super funds in his book, Bad Egg, How to Fix Super, referring to the Australian Electoral Commission data showing industry funds paid $10.45 million to unions in 2017 and $3.22 million in 2006. $10 million. So your super, if you're in an industry fund, your super is going to support the unions. Going to support the unions. Money that you are forced to pay into there. This is why they want to keep control of your money, everyone. Okay, and I know people are saying, oh, but you're making fun of people making stupid consumer decisions. Well, yeah, people are. People will learn. Do you honestly think stupid people who aren't smart enough to save themselves or aren't smart enough to plan are going to not just friddle away all their super money when they get it in one big payment and then be dependent on the pension? What do you think is going to happen? Seriously. Hopefully some of them would use it maybe to pay off some debt or to pay off a house, to do something they would have done with it anyway. Using the previous annual growth rate of 9%, he estimates that $31.4 million could be paid to unions by super funds in 2030, noting the AEC data only captures payments made to unions affiliated with the Australian Labor Party. Labor's financial services spokesman, Stephen Jones, said claims made by Mr. Bragg's book were already dismissed as spurious by the Financial Services Royal Commission. Who cares? Who cares? We all know that. I mean, you've got all these seats on these super funds, these board positions. The level of payments from super funds to union has fallen in some years, and the AEC does not classify them as donations. Why are they not classified as donations? Or is this the payments from the positions at the super fund board sitting on the boards? I mean, here's the thing. You've got to ask, if this entire industry was made voluntary, what would happen? Would either side of the political spectrum advocate for it? I'm sure the banks would hate to lose their control over your super money. And I know a lot of viewers have set up self-managed super funds. Maybe I should look into that and do an episode on it. I keep getting advertised. Every time I do an episode like this talking about super, I keep getting hit with e-super fund advertisements. But all I understand is they just set up a company for you, so it could be much cheaper to do. A super system needs to be strengthened and protected, not undermined by liberal backbenchers desperate for a headline, Mr. Jones said. Needs to be strengthened. No, it needs to be challenged. It needs to be challenged. How many people have withdrawn their money from their super? What does that tell you for people's confidence in it? There's another article where all the superannuation has been lost. Do you have confidence in super, everyone? I mean, I can appreciate and understand the reason why we have it and the advantages we have there. But you need to ask permission to have access for your money. You need to ask permission. People should be able to access it whenever they want, or there should be a cap that they can access every year. It's frustrating if you're struggling to get a deposit together for a house and you've got a big chunk of money just sitting there in your super, or you're fighting to pay off debt and you've got super money just sitting there. You're paying more in interest on debts than you are potentially earning on your super. And I know there's a compounding effect there. I understand that, everyone. However, Senator Bragg said he wasn't intending to try to ban payments, but simply provide more information to the public. It might not be a lot of money in a $3 trillion industry, but it's a lot of money in a political campaign context. The funds paid to unions are largely for services, including sponsorship fees, marketing or costs for events, and remuneration expenses to directors. There it is. Sources within the superannuation industry, who did not want to be named as the topic is sensitive, said the projections were vastly inflated. Oh, don't say that. I'm sure those directors can earn that $30 million. I mean, of course it's going to be. He's going to play it up. He has to. You know, you've got to get book sales going. You've got to get book sales going. But fundamentally, this is forced money that we're being put in. And the public needs to know, if you are in an industry super fund, you are supporting the union movement. And if you're ideologically okay for that, no problem. Go right ahead. Maybe that will encourage you to go out of a retail fund or go out of a bank control fund and go into a union control fund or industry fund. Or maybe if you've got some issues with the union movement and you're not an advocate for it and you don't want to financially support it, or you want to limit how much you can support it, then you've got the choice to move your funds out of there. What do you think? At least that's one element of consumers actually advocating or using or deploying their agency. Remember when you were forced into particular funds, you didn't even have the choice to move around? Senator Bragg was particularly critical of super funds giving money to unions when the workers' organization had, in his view, pushed anti-worker positions by arguing against trade deals and business tax cuts. I mean, he's right. But, you know, look, I mean, Labour has taken a position against coal mining, which is ludicrous. Isn't the coal industry meant to be the backbone of their party? Or at least it was back in the day. But anyway, that's why we're seeing the rise of other parties. I'm not big on banning things, but I think it should be easy to find out whether or not your super fund is supporting the CFMEU. John Setka, he said, adding CBUS had made payments to the CFMEU. A spokesman for CBUS said any partnership payments were disclosed in financial reports and online, and the fund did not make political donations. Well, no, you didn't. You're just paying people to work. It's a racket, guys. We all need to get into it. What are we doing? You got to work your way up in the union chain, then get yourself a nice little board position or partnership job on a super fund. You know. The Royal Commission examined these arrangements and found them to be rigorous, with steps in place to ensure the money was spent appropriately, he said. In the book, Senator Bragg said anyone who looked closely at the retirement system would appreciate the intricate alliance between industry super funds, the union movement, and the Labour Party. He's right there. And said industry super funds were on track to be the biggest political donors in Australia. Directly or indirectly. It's just semantics. They're paying money to the leadership in these organizations through jobs. It's, you know, a form of, you could almost say nepotism, couldn't you? Keeping it in the family. He said there should be greater disclosure requirements, particularly as super payments are mandatory. And any financial institutions with a superannuation license should be required to disclose party-related payments in annual reports and online. See, I would assume they already are. Maybe that's my mistake. I've never looked into it. Industry Super Australia Chief Executive Bernie Dean dismissed the claim, saying it was no secret there could be improvements to the retirement system, but it was one of the best in the world. Well, you've got people that don't believe that and are taking their money at any chance they get. This stuff, claims about union payments, isn't only false and old, it reeks of a political agenda and jars with the Prime Minister's appeal for everyone to get out of the old ideological grooves and find new ways to generate jobs and economic growth, he said. Yeah, let's see that. Just looking at some of the key figures in the union movement here in Australia, what they're posting on Twitter and these type of comments, they're not going to get out of their ideological grooves. Australian Institute of Superannuation Trustee Chief Executive Eva Shearling said super was one of the most highly regulated industries in the country, and all funds undertake intensive reporting and disclosure to independent regulators. The Hayne Royal Commission vetted thousands of documents provided by industry funds, including those related to commercial arrangements with unions and employer associations, and found no evidence of misconduct, she said. This was in contrast to the many findings of misconduct against the for-profit retail sector. It is Bragg seriously suggesting that Commissioner Hayne got it wrong. She said these arrangements provided cost-effective methods of promoting super and educating members in their workplace, and industry funds were not controlled by unions, with equal representation of employer and union groups. What do you all think, everyone? What's your take on it? I mean, I can't... one will be foolish in thinking if the retail bank-controlled sector is any better. As always, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to support the content I create here, there are a few ways you can. You can join the channel on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or Kucoin. You can buy merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Take care, have a great day. I'll see you all next time.